Kevin Brown does a great job as the play-by-play voice for the Orioles on Masson, joining us now from his hotel room in Detroit. Kevin, thank you so much for being with us. Let's talk about the bad first. How does this Orioles team get back to hitting? We need them to hit.
First of all, I was really hoping you were going to reveal the Tiger starter for today. It's kind of put a dent into my prep. You got nothing? No idea?
Nothing. It's
All
still
right.
it's that TBD guy.
Darn TBD. We're seeing a lot of TBD these days. Yeah, offensively, it's been a tough stretch. I mean, it's been a tough 3 months or so for the Orioles. Brandon Hyde has been really reduced from manager to chief medical officer for his daily press conferences. It feels like the first 2 minutes of every press conference are spent less on the performance of the team or the starting pitching matchup that day and more on Jordan Westburg's hand and Ryan Mountcastle's wrist and Ramon Urias's ankle and Grayson Rodriguez's lat. It's a reality. And look, the reality is the last 2 years, this team had great injury luck. And this year, this team has bad injury luck. It just happens. It's not an excuse. It's a reality. The reality is they probably overperformed the last 2 years because of it. And they're underperforming a little bit because of it now. They're very left-handed. So they have some trouble with left-handed pitching without Westburg, without Urias, without Mountcastle. Like Adley Rutschman, it's been no secret, has been in a pretty deep struggle for a few months. There were some really encouraging signs in Boston and the Orioles last series. He got a hit in every game in that series. He used the opposite side of the field well. If he starts to get going, it changes things with the offense in a pretty major way. Colton Cowser has had a lot of struggles with changeups, with off-speed pitches. He's somebody who's right in the conversation for American League Rookie of the Year. If he gets going, it changes the offense in a major way as well. But yeah, there have been some significant bats that have hit a downturn for the O's of late. Ryan O'Hearn's another who really quietly has helped carry this team the last 2 years, was a cash considerations deal with the Royals. He's in a 2 for 28 and only one home run in the last couple of months or so. So no doubt there are some big bats that are, it seems, pressing a little bit. I don't think you need to be a clinical psychologist to see that. You can tell in the swings, you can tell in the approaches. There's a little bit of frustration from guys trying to do too much.
Kevin, talking about telling about the swing, do you think that Adley is playing through that injury a little bit? Is that where his line has kind of suffered in terms of he got hit in the hand? I don't know if if he's playing through it. I mean, what do you make of what's happening with him?
I don't know. I think it's a convenient excuse, right? Adley was hit in the hand a couple of months ago. He says he's fine. He says it's more just the normal wear and tear of catching every day. Look, I think a lot of this is, and again, I'm not trying to play armchair psychologist here, but I think a lot of this is a guy who is just going through a tough period, who's really not used to going through a tough period. He was the #1 pick. He really only struggled as a freshman at Oregon State, and then he went to the Cape Cod League wanting to be challenged, right? Almost embracing the struggle. And from there was this no doubt top of the line prospect. Outside of his first month in the big leagues, he's really never had a struggle like this. It's a reminder that this is a hard game and progress isn't always linear. And this is a guy in his third year. So I don't think there's some lingering hand issue. He continues to say there's not. The team continues to say they're not aware of it. I think it is more the mental side of things. And you've seen him pop a lot of balls up. I don't know if he's popping balls up because the hand hurts or he's popping balls up because there's just something with the approach and there's something with the struggle that's more on the mental side. But I do go back to that Boston series, and the way he hit the ball on the ground and on a line to the backside, I think is a really positive step. Because look, let's face it, for the Orioles to go far in the playoffs, they're going to need Adley Rutschman. They're going to need a different Adley Rutschman than they've seen the last few months. And maybe the Adley Rutschman of the last series, who strung a few good games together in a row, not just a one-off before going into another offer. Maybe that is the guy who's finally ready to break free.
All right, Gunnar Henderson, Kevin, has really carried the Baltimore Orioles offense in the month of September, but I don't know that we're talking about Anthony Santander enough. 2 home runs recently. He has 41 on the year. We don't talk about him enough.
Let's do it. Let's talk about him. I mean, he's in the top 3. He's been in the top 3 in the majors in home runs for most of the year. You hear Ohtani, you hear Judge, and then Santander's right up there in terms of home runs. And there's no one major thing here, right? There's no incredible swing change or new bat size or some sort of superstition. This is just a guy who's in his eighth big league year, who is incredibly diligent in his preparation, who's incredibly disciplined in the way he takes care of his body. He's dealt with several injuries in the past. He is somebody who really understands himself, understands his body, understands his swing. And I think it just comes with experience. And it's a good reminder, by the way, that this is a really young Orioles team, a lot of players in their first 3 years who don't have that yet. So when Anthony gets in these down periods, he's able to lift himself out more quickly. And I think it's such a great story to Alanna because here's a player who kind of slipped into the team under the radar. In 2017, he debuts as a Rule 5 pick back when the Orioles are on the tail end of that great era from 12 to 16. He kind of gets lost in the shuffle for a few years, but he didn't play a day above A ball. And now here he is as not just a bona fide starter, but one of the best bona fide power hitters in the game.
Yeah, it looks. It's fun to watch him. Let's talk about the under the radar moves at the deadline, Kevin. I think the addition of Zach Eflin, who throws tonight for the Orioles, of course, and Sir Anthony Dominguez, who is now, the closer for the Baltimore Orioles, have been really key additions for this club. I mean, is it fair to say that? Where do you think the Orioles would be without the services of those two guys?
Not 82 and 63, I think, is where they would be without those two guys. This injury, this rotation has been just wrecked all year. I mean, it's reality. Again, it's not an excuse when Kyle Bradish is out for the year, Tyler Wells is out for the year, John Means is out for the year, Grayson Rodriguez is on the IL for a second time. There have been times this year where the Orioles have had five above average starting pitchers on the injured list at the same time. They have needed Zach Eflin. He has provided length. He's provided quality literally every time out. He hasn't allowed more than 3 runs in any of his 6 starts. You see it on your screen right there. It's a 38-4 strikeout to walk ratio. He's become more of a strikeout pitcher with the Orioles. He's utilized the cutter a little bit more. High cutter to lefties has been really effective for him. And then Sir Anthony Dominguez, the Orioles survived the loss of Felix Bautista for the first half. Craig Kimbrell had an all-star caliber first half, but has just not been able to find it here in the second. They needed a back-end reliever. And Sir Anthony Dominguez was a really intriguing player in the Orioles' view. They thought they were getting somebody who had back-end experience, who had kind of just been squeezed out. I mean, think about all the ridiculous runs that the Philadelphia relievers were on early. Jeff Hoffman and Matt Strom and guys who are pitching career best years and having career best numbers. And Dominguez, who was at the back end of a lot of those games in the playoffs the last 2 years, he just got squeezed out. He had a tough start. He sort of got lost in the shuffle. The Orioles felt like he was more of a buy low candidate. They trade Austin Hayes, who's struggled and been hurt again in Philadelphia. And they got Dominguez, who has not blown a save for them and has been a really reliable closer. So they needed a little more right-handed stuff in the bullpen. And if they go far, again, we'll see. But they have a guy with real postseason experience. They have a guy that's really tough on right-handers now in the 9th inning, and they have loved what they've seen from him.
Yeah, 9 for 9 and save opportunities. Let's get to Corbin Burnes for a second, who scuffled a little bit, but he seems to have gotten it back on track. What have you noticed as far as the change?
Yeah, it's been a weird year for Corbin Burnes because ERA, innings pitched, starts, the guy's been what the Orioles wanted, right? He's been a horse. He's been one of the best pitchers in baseball. He's thrown some of the most innings in baseball. I think he has 20 quality starts, which is in the top 5, 6 innings or more, 3 runs or less. You can rely on him for 6 innings almost every time out. Not missing a lot of bats, which is maybe more of a concern for teams who are thinking about a 7-year deal with Corbin Burnes, who's going to be a free agent after this year. What kinds of strikeout capabilities will they have in the future? That trend line's gone down, and it's gone down over the course of the year too. The strikeout numbers are down. He has tweaked the cutter in some recent games. The last few starts, the cutter's a little less hard, a little less sharp. There's a little more break to it. There's a little less velocity. He felt like he wasn't getting a lot of swing and miss on that pitch because it was operating more as a straight fastball, and now it's getting a little bit more the shape it got in previous years when he was a Cy Young winner. Um, and it's strange because there's so many 6 inning, 2 run type starts here that the Orioles are happy about. But is he going to miss more bats, right? Is that slider going to work in tandem with the cutter? I think he's had a little trouble having both of those pitches work at the same time. The curveball's been a really good 2-strike pitch, but batters, I think, have been able to key in a little bit more on a couple of pitches. So he's going to have to strike out guys for the Orioles to go deep. And also holding runners has been a real challenge. He's given up more steals than any pitcher in a single season in Orioles history. So you face a fast team in the postseason, you got to keep them off base because the Orioles have had some trouble doing that.
Yeah, that could be problematic. Before I let you go, when I think of Syracuse University, I think of cold weather, I think of Carmelo Anthony, and I think of a very good journalism program. You recently posted this photo of you and 4 other Cuse alum. What was this moment like for you? You can see there, you have Sean McDonough, Joe Castiglione, Bob Costas, and Dave O'Brien, and Kevin Brown. How about that?
That's right. The fifth Beatle, the Pete Best, the Stu Sutcliffe of this photo. Well, we didn't know if we should put Joe Castig in the photo because he only has a graduate degree from Syracuse, Alanna. We were nice enough to include him, even though he's undergrad.
That's
Colgate.
very nice of you.
Yeah, well, we're generous people, Syracuse folks. I didn't realize until Sean came up to me. This was on Tuesday in Boston. Sean and Joe were on the radio for the Red Sox. Dave was doing TV. I was doing Orioles TV. And then Bob was there for a TBS simulcast. So I didn't realize until Sean mentioned the orange presence in the booth that there were 5 Syracuse graduates in the press box. So naturally, I said, we've got to get a photo together. I have to prove to people that, I can stand next to these giants. The nice thing is, though, actually, I stand next to literal giants all the time because Jim Palmer's 6'4" and Ben McDonald's 6'7". So people keep telling me when they meet me, they're surprised at how tall I am just because I'm like a normal human height. And so finally got to take a picture next to somebody my own size. It was great. I had to be the picture wrangler. Bob, when are you ready? 5 minutes. Okay, great. Dave, when are you ready? I'm ready now. Sean, I need 5 minutes on TV. So we got it together. We all went our separate ways to call the game. It was special. It's a special place. People who know anybody from Syracuse are probably sick of hearing them talk about Syracuse, so I won't belabor the point. I'll just say that there's a real culture among broadcasters there of giving back, giving advice, giving feedback, helping out the younger generation. Those guys have been great to me, and it was pretty special to get to just kind of photobomb, with 4 Hall of Famers in that Red Sox radio booth.
Yeah, quite the pedigree coming out of Syracuse. Kevin, we always appreciate the insight. Have a good time in Detroit. Have a good call tonight with the Orioles and the Tigers. We appreciate you.
Thanks, Alanna. Appreciate it.